That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks. It's kind of exciting. I feel like we have a game to actually talk about and preview here. I mean, not really, but kind of. It's as close as we're going to get. Thanks for being here, folks, on Blue and Gold Week. We're all ready to rock. We're ready to see what the boys have. And then we just hope the weather isn't 22 degrees and freezing rain and sleet. So we're just gonna have to see how it goes, man. We're gonna have to see. Nothing goes easy. The whole time it was like, man, just give us a break. Just give us blue and gold day to not be cold and miserable, and then it can do whatever it wants to do till summer kicks in. No, couldn't have it. Couldn't have it. So it looks like it's gonna be a chilly one. But there's Notre Dame football, and that energy is indeed in the air. It is, and I want to get, oh boy, look at this. Look at this. We're pausing the show to let everybody know. Big Eric, Big E, man, $100 holler for the Always Irish gang who attend BG. I want to sponsor one cooler. John, no cheap beer that you talk about. I want something good in the cooler. Sam Adams, whatever. No Bud Light, permanently boycotting. P.S. I'll watch on Peacock. Yeah, we'll see if we could get. I'll try and get somewhere where you could see me on the air during the game, Eric. I'll get behind the field goal where they're showing where they kick it in the net or something, so we could get on the air. Eric, it means a lot. Really appreciate the $100, and that will indeed go right to a barrel to light stuff on fire to keep us all warm. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's not going to go to a barrel to light stuff on fire to keep us warm. But I really do appreciate that. That will literally go right into the beer fund and the drink and food fund for this event. So we're still going, everybody. We are still going. So anybody that wants to hang out, I got a feeling it isn't going to be hard to find people hanging out, because I got a feeling some of this weather is going to keep people off in a way, or coming late or whatever. But we're gonna make the best of it. So Eric, that really does mean a lot, and we really will use this for the tailgate. Really, really appreciate that. It really means a lot, Eric. That ain't pocket change. Well, it is for you, apparently. So that's good for you. That really does mean a lot. So thanks, everybody, for being here. The topic's simple. I just want to know what you want to see in the blue and gold game. I want to see what you want to see. Like, in terms of what would have you leaving saying this team's better than I thought they were going to be? What would have you leaving going, man, I really feel like this offense is set to take off? What would have to happen for you to leave and be like, man, I see the defense flying around. I think I feel a little better about that dynamic than I did a month ago. So I'm really just interested if there's any specifics that you guys want to look at in this ball game. And we're going to do something later in the week looking at positional groups, like exactly where I'm focusing and because they're all not built the same. Like, there's certain parts of this team closer to where I need them to be in my mind than others. And so I'm looking at the others harder. I don't look at everything going on the same, because there's different things that I need to see out of different groups for me to be able to lay my little Irish head down at night and be able to fall asleep. So that's what I'm interested in. We already got a few phone calls, so I'm going to do my introduction, catch up with the chats. We'll go right to the phone calls, and I'll do my stuff intermixed in the middle. But when people want to call during a weekday, I know they're busy. I want to get to them. Obviously, YouTube, hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps me as well. Notifications on, that way you're alerted every time a new episode drops. Twitter, search bar Always Irish, rat Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only, anywhere you find me, or anywhere you want to find me, you can find me. Call in line 312-900-8815. Tell me about the blue and gold game of what you want to have heard and seen. Fighting Irish Wire, we're running it all this week. We got all sorts of different previews from different angles, looking at different stuff. Feel free to check it out. One more thing I want to put in the mix of things to discuss or to chat. Lorenzo Styles is an interesting case. He came out and he was talking about, I know I'm a good player. I know I could do both, and I know I can contribute on offense. I know I can contribute on defense and all this stuff. And he's openly saying that. On one hand, I absolutely love this self-confidence. I love the self-confidence he has in himself. I just love that that's his vibe and all that. That's terrific. There is a part of me, though, that is sitting there going, all right, I'm trying to be fair to this guy. Last year, I did not feel like the reasons I didn't see a ton of production were like just the quarterback or just like the dynamic. I felt like he had a little something going on upstairs. And it wasn't all clicking, and he couldn't get his body to do what his mind wanted. Like there was an issue last year. He didn't look dialed in. And I don't know if that's fair or not, but I'm just telling you, the production wasn't there, even with whatever we were dealing with at quarterback or whatever else. And he just looked kind of discombobulated, and his mind wasn't in it or something. I don't know how else to put it. So there is a part of me that says, I love that this guy has this confidence in himself. But there's also a side of me that's going, you had one job last year and you couldn't really figure it out, and it wasn't good. Now you're worrying about two things. Do I want that? Is that best for him to worry about two things? Or is this a scenario where it's going to be a move to defense and then it turns into one thing? I don't know. But I love that confidence. I love that confidence. But I'm just saying, I felt like some of his issues were being overwhelmed in his mind last year. Do I want double those worries? So love that he has the confidence. This is a little bit of a curious case. And now they said that he asked and whatever, and I could do both. And so I don't know where it's going to fall. But I just thought that was very interesting. I do like the confidence, but the thing is, if you're going to put yourself out there and speak like that, you're creating expectations. So then I need you to deliver. If it's just, I don't know. Maybe that's not fair to me, but I in his mind, I saw a little bit of a struggle to do one thing. So now whatever. They all got to know what's going on more than I do. So if you guys have any thoughts on that as well, let me know. And Paul asked this question, and it's a good one. Can you explain the format of the blue and gold game? I mean, I think it's one of those running clock deals. I believe they're having a draft. Unless I'm wrong, there's a draft for it taking place. But what I don't know is, you're not going to touch quarterbacks, all that. But what I don't know is some years it's a regular scoring format, like touchdown, field goal, whatever. And then other times you get points if you get a sack, which is only a two-hand touch, or if you do the defense does this, they get this many points. I don't know if they're doing that or not. That gets a little bit confusing. Like at least regular football numbers, you have an idea of how many people scored and how. Like when you mix it up with all those other things, turnovers worth 6 points, all of that, it gets harder. But at the end of the day, whatever the format is, I think you're looking for what you're looking for. Right? Like the format's already going to be messed up. And then think about it this way too. If you're going to do a draft, then doesn't that is that for sure? Somebody put it in the chat, they were doing a draft. If you're doing a draft, then that pretty much ensures you're not going to have like all your best guys on one team working together to see what it looks like, right? Because if I'm thinking of a draft and you have Hartman over here, Buckner over here, then one good receiver's going here and the other one's going there. So doesn't that mean, am I not thinking of this right? Or doesn't that mean that like you're not getting number one team versus number one team to have that all together? So everything's spread out a little bit more. But as far as the actual scoring format, I don't know if I've saw that. Some of that's just hard to follow for me. Like, I just want to see good play. Like that's what I want to see. All right. A couple chats, and then we're going to get to the phones. Let me go over. I'm not going to go into all my notes because we're going to get busy when we get into the call. So let me just give you some of my bullet points of what I'm looking for. One is health. I know it's boring. It's the number one most important thing, and it screwed us last year. 2, speed. Okay. Overall speed on the team, looking for guys to flash. Defensive speed's on my mind. I'm looking for the need for speed. Okay. Number 3, obviously the quarterbacks. There's going to be a lot of looking at this ball game and those quarterbacks, and every single throw is going to be analyzed, reanalyzed, overanalyzed. I'm interested to see it too. Here's what I'm not interested in seeing. I already know Tyler Buckner is an extremely gifted runner. I don't need to see him running around in a red jersey, not getting touched, running around. I already know he's good at that. Throw the damn ball. Seriously, I don't need to see that. Everybody knows he's good at that. Let's see the other stuff that we have questions about. There's an example with quarterbacks, what I want to see. Rip it. I don't care if there's a 25-mile-an-hour wind. It's a practice game. Rip it. Especially with Buckner. I already know he's a gifted runner. Let me see the other stuff I don't know. And then nobody knows. Let's see it. Number 4, offense overall. A lot of people are complaining that they think this offense looks too similar to last year. If this offense looks really similar to last year, well, then that's criminal misuse. And you hired your buddy who doesn't know what he's going on. Doesn't know what's going on. I'm telling you that right now. It would be criminal to run the same offense as last year because they're going to be capable of doing way more. So you're going to shortchange yourself if you run a conservative offense that looks too much like last year. You are going to have way more capabilities to move the ball down the field and score. So this offense needs to look a little different, and I hope to see some of that. Nobody, most notably me, is saying Notre Dame needs to throw the ball 50 times a game, and who needs to run it? Just whiz the ball all over. I'm not saying that. But they're going to be capable of doing both more this year, and I just want to see some of that, lean into some of that. We already know what we want Notre Dame's run game to look like and all that, and those characters. Let's see the other side of this as much as you can. And it doesn't even have to be perfect. It doesn't have to look all in rhythm and everything's absolutely perfect. But let me see that some of this is going to look different and more aggressive and modern and blend with the physical running game. I just want to see that. Okay. And then number 5, defense. I'm looking at speed. I'm looking at the crispness, the tackling. It's not the end all be all if the tackling's a little sloppy in the spring game. I do, however, find it informative of where the group's at. Take that how you want. Take that how you want. It's a spring game. I don't expect it to be perfect, but I do think it informs you of what level that group is at and how much they got done and where they're at in the spring. Speed, crispness, tackling, rotations on all 3 levels, rotations, who's playing where and who's making plays. Now is the time to mix and match and try and do whatever you want to do. And the 6th thing I'm looking for is youth. Youth. This is really as close to game reps as you're going to get that we are all going to get to see in full. All right? Now is the time to let that youth show. Let those young receivers have a chance to go out there and make plays. Now is the time to try whatever you want to try on a football field in front of people, but with no risk of a loss or something catastrophic. So if there's anything that you want to try, let it try and let it fly. There's no hurt here. There's nothing to hurt here. So that's what I'm looking for. And then later in the week, probably Thursday, I'll drop something on individual position groups and hammer in within that what I'm looking to see. All right, that's my list. Couple chats, and then we're going to get to the calls. And we got a bunch of them today, so I'm excited to hear what you guys think. Somebody out, Paul out, and give us the full format. I believe there is a draft. Yeah, that game goes fast. Like, I'm used to being in Notre Dame Stadium for NBC games, which means I can cook a Thanksgiving dinner, knit a scarf. Like, you could do a million things during those 6 hours. This is going to be fast. Let's see. Anders says the wide receiver group. I'm shocked that Indy essentially forced the Vatek transfer out and are signaling that Styles may change positions. 3 freshmen playing significant snaps at wide receiver. That's not good. Well, I mean, I guess number one is you obviously disagree with the premise that this was medical. I don't have any information about that. I'm not going to act like I do. I do think it'd be pretty bold and aggressive to be like, we had you come over here and now we realize we have younger guys better than you, fake an injury to bow out. That's rough. So I'm not sure that I can go there on that level of getting out of this by telling a guy, what do you tell him to walk around with a limp? Like when so I'm uncomfortable with the assumption that they forced that label on it if it wasn't actually true. But let's look at the other part. 3 freshmen playing significant snaps. That's not good. Neither is anything Notre Dame's had. Like, that's my answer. That might not be good, and it could still be better than what we had last year. Like, and I'm not saying that that's going to be amazing, but when the bar is so low, how picky do you get to be about what counts as a little progress? And then I could look at it this way. If I got these young guys that are legitimately competing for snaps and having meaningful playing time as freshmen, yes, there are going to be some rocky outings and some inconsistency, sure. But imagine that group in 3 years. If you got a core group of young receivers that can play as freshmen, what do those guys look like year 2, year 3? Where are we at then? That's a dynamic where it could come back to you and benefit you. But it's like 3 freshmen playing significant snaps. That's not good. I might be better than anything we had. But I'm not comfortable with the medical thing saying that was forced. I don't know. And if it was, maybe that's just a thing they do, and that's fine, but that's kind of rough to recruit a guy to transfer in, and then you don't even get to the spring game and you're done. So I'm not going to act like I know what's up there. I'm not. Mikey Poles, good morning, John. Top 3 things. Hartman, freshman wide receivers, first team D-line. Those are all fantastic things. And when I go over my list of positional groups, what I'm looking for, all 3 of those are on there for obvious reasons. Yeah, very good picks. Very good picks. Andrew, I want to see the defensive scheme. That's on my list as well. All the articles are talking about blitzing. I like the idea of being aggressive, but I still have nightmares at BVG. He was all about blitzing too. Go back a little further. What about John Tenuta? Was it John Tenuta? I remember that defense. Oh, John Tenuta's the blitz master. We're going to get home. You're going to wreak havoc for everywhere. Oh, you wreaked, all right, but it wasn't the havoc that was wreaking. I remember, what an idiot I am. I remember sitting in my condo in Chicago or in Evanston, and I remember reading the article. Oh, I'm so excited, John Tenuta. We're going to be an aggressive defense. And they couldn't do anything. They could not do anything football that was good. Nothing. Oh, my God. Heart Foundation, what up? Domer 88 callers, we're coming to you. I see a bunch of you. Tighten up your ideas if we have a full call bank. I'm sick of the red and I want it dead. Domer Guy 88, I appreciate your rhyme. As somebody who uses those kind of things a lot, I appreciate that. He's sick of the red and he wants it dead. Let's green out the house that Rockney built on September 23rd. No more red takeovers. That's the idea. Cincinnati, Georgia, Nebraska. Why is it always red? It just bothers me. Why is it always red? Andrew Gilmore, I want to see Kenny Minchie. Is he already better than Angeli? if Buckner were to transfer this year or after the season, Minch could be the 24 starter. Here's a serious question I have, and I genuinely don't know the answer. If you're riding into this and you're telling all the fans that this is an open quarterback competition for the starting job, then my honest question is, if that's really what it is, and this is your big practice game to see what guys do under the lights and all that, how many snaps can you afford to give Angeli and Minchie if you're telling me it's a down to the wire fight for the starting job? Then how many free snaps do we have for guys that aren't even up for that? That's where I see Notre Dame kind of boxing themselves in here with this full-on competition with quarterback. It's a genuine question. You want to get everybody work, but everybody's going to want to see those two guys competing for this job. So how much do those guys get in? What do they look like? I don't know. I'd love to see Kenny Minchie throw the ball. Give me that. Here we go. Hart Foundation again. 443-612-567-646. Those are just some of the calls coming up. I need to see players. Making a plays they're supposed to make on both sides of the field. I want to see the young linebackers and wide receivers hopefully pop out and show out. Well, I hope nothing pops out. This type of exhibition game sets up. All right, so here's what I'm thinking. When I think about what has to happen for Notre Dame to meet and exceed expectations in this next season, I kind of see a delineating point of two different things that I need. One of them is all the guys that we think we know we can rely on, like our best players at different levels of the defense or in the running back room or whatever. Whatever it is that you think you know and trust has to deliver. And then you need some of the unknowns. I've been talking about unknowns on defense, kind of unknown and kind of nervous in some of these spots. You need unknown guys to turn into known guys that can be reliable. So that's the blend. Your good guys that you think are going to be good, got to be good every week. And then you need a handful that surprise you. And you go, wow, I think we can rely on production from this guy every single week. Defensive linemen, whether it's the linebackers getting all on the same page, whatever it is. So that's what I'm looking for. Your good guys, Ben Morrison, has to be Ben Morrison and take it up another notch. Like, that's a perfect example. Who else could go on the other side of him and be reliable and not to his level, but enough that I feel like we're just not going to get torched to the other side wherever Morrison is, as an example. So that's what I'm looking for. Sharky, good to see you. Dr. John, I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Phil Ag, who's ready for some football Saturday? I am. I'm ready for some football. Are you ready for some football? Freezing in the parking lot. Vito. Good to talk to you, Vito. John, assuming spring ball QB rumors are true, do you think Buckner's better than we thought or Hartman's worse than we thought? I think it all probably washes out into a reasonable blend of everything. I think it would be perfectly reasonable to assume that Buckner would develop, and if he's healthy, he would pick things up and look a little better, and he has more athletic targets to throw to, and he's healthy, and he's been around and knows a lot of the terminology and everything more, and knows some of these players more. I think under that scenario, it doesn't surprise me to hear that the Buckner's doing well. On Hartman's side, there's a couple different ways to look at it. If you believe that he's struggling in camp, you could say, all right, he's in there trying to learn everything and it's all kind of new to him. Even though he's a sixth-year guy, that's still new terminology, new teammates, all that he's trying to learn and get caught up with. So that puts him a little behind or whatever. But the other thing that I think people sometimes aren't forgetting is, and maybe some of this is my fault, when I talk about Hartman, I have never spoke of him as if he's Caleb Williams. No. but it could still be way better than what we are used to. There is a huge gulf between Pine production and Caleb Williams. Hartman could fall anywhere in between, and that is an upgrade. So I don't think it should have been Hartman's coming here. We're winning the Super Bowl. He's winning the Heisman. I didn't hear of him thought of that way, because if he was, he'd be ready for the draft, not the blue and gold game, and not the blue and gold draft. He'd be going in the actual draft if he was that polished. So I think it's foolish for people to expect that, or he'd be going to the NFL next week. But anywhere that he might fall between Pine and the best quarterback winning the Heisman, it makes Notre Dame better, because the bar isn't a clear bar. There's the national bar of who's the best at this, and then there's where you're at. It's very hard to go from where you're at to the Heisman guy. Anything in between is progress. That's how I think of it. I think some people thought Hartman was like Super Bowl quarterback, but in my mind, I'm thinking if he was, he'd be going to the NFL, and he's not, for a reason. But that doesn't mean it's still not a huge jump in what's capable after last year. So the truth is probably a blend of all of this in the mix. All of it. Jay Lehman, good to see you. We need to fight. We're going to get in there. We're going to fight. And also, we're going inside them. We are going outside them. And we're going inside them and outside them. Right, Bob? I hope Bob Kelly's Brian's dad. And he likes my show because his son hates me. That's what I hope. And more people are telling me I interact with Brian Kelly on Twitter all the time. That one burner account, Stinky something, responded to me a year ago, but from a different account or whatever, and people were saying it was Kelly. They're back at me. I don't know what I did. People are convinced it's a Kelly burner, not him, but somebody in his. He exposed himself. From that account, there was like something about LSU, this and that. Make sure you do that. But it was from the Stinky account, which is the burner. I'm saying Stinky. That's the name on the account. Stinky478, some dumb thing. And they always like come back at me about Notre Dame administrative issues, I've noticed. And then it looks like Kelly tweeted or somebody tweeted it, but it was from the other account. I don't know, but if I'm in that dude's head, I'm doing my job. Josh Miller. Josh Miller says, it's my birthday. See you on Saturday. Well, I got news for you, Josh Miller. I got a Miller with your name on it. Come holler at your boy. I'll have a big white flag flapping in the breeze, and it says, always Irish tailgate. Well, not the tailgate. I added that part. But it does say always Irish. Crazy boy. Heartline was on his own property, so the fact he got behind a wheel drunk is irrelevant. Well, yes and no. Yes and no. It's on your own property. You can do what you want. That doesn't mean it's a good idea to get drunk and injure yourself driving a motor vehicle on your own property. You could argue if you're going to injure anybody, injure yourself. You're not out on the public roads drunk and driving. I agree with that. But the reason I'm saying it's not irrelevant what Heartline is alleged to have done is you're a coach of 18 to 22-year-olds. You're supposed to set a good example. You drinking too much and then getting in a motor vehicle accident, wherever it is irresponsible behavior. You probably don't want to be teaching 18 to 22-year-old men. That's my point. It's about the example. We're not all the same. When you're a coach at Ohio State, you have different expectations of your behavior. You have a different level you have to maintain because you're a public figure teaching these guys. That's my point. It's just an awful example to set as a coach. It's like you're the one supposed to be teaching me the right track. You're the one getting hammered and wiping out and getting and injuring yourself. So you grow up. That's my point. It's just a bad example for a coach to set. Like, so it's not irrelevant on that part. It's better than driving drunk on the highway and killing a bunch of people. I guess I agree with that. But it's not irrelevant that you acted irresponsible and injured yourself, and you're supposed to be teaching 18 to 22-year-old men not to do that. That's the issue. And I'm not going to say that that doesn't apply. And it doesn't matter. It's Ohio State. If Notre Dame had a guy do that, I'd say it too. That's just not the best look for a coach who's supposed to be an example. That's what you are when you're a college coach. That's my issue. All right. We're getting down to the nitty gritty here. Ooh, Wing Ling, Ying Lang. Here we go. Pat, you're a clown. I see them arguing. All right, let's get to the calls. We got a bunch of them, so make it all a little quicker so I can get through. What do we want to see for blue and gold? 443, you're talking to me.
Yes, I am talking to you, John. I want to see. I know that it's going to be cold and windy. I don't care. Sam Hartman has been hyped to the moon and back. So I want to see him throw that ball over that mountain.
I like that. I'm thinking of that movie Napoleon Dynamite and the Uncle Rico, and he's like, "How much you want to bet I could throw that football right over that mountain?" I want to see it too. Yeah. Now, wait, are you worried? This crossed my mind. The weather's not going to be ideal. They better not just go, "Oh, it's really windy and nasty. We're not even going to try and throw it at all. Let's just run the ball for 2 hours." Like, they have work to do in the passing game. I don't even care if they're incomplete. Let me see what you're trying to do.
Yeah, like, I am a little bit concerned. I am a little bit concerned about a lot of things regarding the spring game. Lorenzo's stuff, like, I'm not really all that concerned about Styles because the transition from receiver to cornerback has been done before a dime a dozen. A famous example of that, I know he never actually played receiver at Bama, but Trevon Diggs was a receiver in high school, and yet when he got to Bama, Nick Saban put him at cornerback.
Yeah,
it's happened before. I'm not that concerned, but what I am a little bit concerned about, though, is this offensive line, am I actually going to be able to see individual offensive line play that is going to stand up to scrutiny from the likes of Ohio State? And
yeah, that's a good question. That is one of my number one questions surrounding the entire season, is that question. And like you said, I don't think I'm going to be able to form a reasonable, fair opinion about that until all the zeros are on the scoreboard after Ohio State. It isn't going to be Navy. It's not going to be Tennessee State, not even NC State or CMU. After Ohio State, we're going to know whether they can hold up or not. Okay? And I'm not, I want to see it.
Sorry. I had a quick question before I go. Did you see any of the Twitter kerfuffle between the Alabama schools and the group of 5 schools wanting to play? I know there was like UAB wanted to play Bama as the Alabama spring game. I just wanted to know your thoughts on that.
Like, I get it in concept. It'd be a way to generate a little revenue. It would be a way to have competition against another live team, so you could maybe get an idea of actually where you stand against other teams, not your own guys. I get that part of it. I think they would start saying, well, then we're going to have this intensity, and then there's risk of injury in a spring game that we don't want. I could see that coming into play. But I could argue you could get injured playing against your own guy on the other side just as easy.
Right.
So, yeah, I've heard that. And I saw Hugh Freeze, wasn't it? Hugh Freeze, one of them guys, somebody was talking about maybe they should look into doing that. I wouldn't be against it. I'm never going to be against more competition, like real more competition. Even a spring game, that would excite the fans. You could generate some money. Everybody would be able to practice. I just think these coaches don't want to risk it.
Here's the problem. Bama has not played an Alabama group of 5 school in a very long time because they're cowards and they don't want to keep the money in the state. Well, I shouldn't say that. I know the arguments why they don't do it. They want to, not keep them. They want to, bring other states' schools to Bama or something stupid like that. It is really stupid.
Hey, let me ask you this. You're talking about Alabama. How do you think your old pal Thomas Reese is going to do over there? What do you think? What do you think of that off? You think he's going to light it up 50 a game?
Do I think Tommy Reese is going to light it up at Bama? I think that there is if he doesn't light it up at Bama, then the whole country is going to know what we already know.
Hey, I don't know it. I just think it off what I've seen. It could be different, and I hope he scores 100 when he plays Brian Kelly. But I got to see it to believe it. And even if I do see it, I'm going to say, yeah, it must be nice with 9 5-stars per year on the team, what you could get done. Not the same thing as here. 9 5-stars in one class. That's a decade or more for us. It's just a different level,
Well, there's ways to sort of level the playing field and whatnot. There's different ways to do that. Yeah. But I don't think that those ways would be looked upon favorably by anybody here, which I can respect and understand.
Yeah.
For example, one of the things that I would think would be a necessity if we wanted to get 9 5-star players in a single class would be to basically get the Pope to bankroll the program somehow.
There you go. Maybe less gold shoes and gold chains and put it into NIL at Notre Dame. There you go. The Pope will have our back. I like that. Yeah, one less chain for him. One less chain and we could get a couple D linemen. I like that. That's good. That's good. All right. So let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up with this. How do you think the Notre Dame quarterback dynamic's going to go? Do you believe Hartman's going to end up winning this job or Buckner? I'm putting you on the spot.
You're putting me on the spot, John, and I'm glad you are. We wouldn't have brought Hartman in if he wasn't going to... He's a 6-year player. It would be different if he was this highly touted freshman.
Yeah.
But he is a 6-year player. If he is a 6-year player and he don't win the starting job, that's an indictment on a lot of evaluators at Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think that's a big risk. Yeah, it's a big move for him to do all that. And then for that not to even end up with the starting job, that would be a bad look for a lot of people, including Hartman himself. It's just it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know, but I hope you enjoy the game. It'll be chilly, but watch it on the Peacock and you'll be all good.
See you, John.
Have a good one. Thanks for calling. Nice. Thanks for touching base. It's been a while. Oh man, I like the energy. I like the energy. You guys are jerks, but I like the energy. 612. What's up, Dr. John?
Hey, buddy, how are you?
I'm doing I'm doing
You know, you
I'm doing fine.
yeah,
I can't sometimes.
yeah, hanging out. Yeah. All right. Get it together.
Sometimes what the people write in the chat, I can't like be on the phone and read some of this stuff you guys come up with. It's amazing. All right, I'm good. What's up, John? What do you want to see?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what I want to see in a minute, but you didn't mention the number one thing you want to see and everybody in that stadium wants to see.
What's that? A dome? So I'm not freezing?
The sun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a heater. That's what I want to see. Oh my God. It's like, dude, give me a break. It doesn't have to be 83 degrees, but it doesn't have to be 33 either. Give me a break.
Yeah, well, I would worry more about the precipitation. That doesn't look good either.
Oh man, it's
I started wondering if they'd ever cancel this game or postpone it, but
we're gonna see. Maybe we'll luck out
because they sold tickets.
Yeah. I think lightning would do it.
It's a totally different game than it was when I was in school. Back then, the players that had graduated and many that were playing in the NFL would come back and scrimmage the team.
Yeah, that's wild to think about too.
Yeah, well, but when you saw some of these guys that were nice and trim when they were 22, and now they're 40.
Yeah.
They aren't so trim anymore. But anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, before I forget, you got to take a video of the tailgate a little bit and show the rest of it.
Yeah,
okay?
I was really going to try and get some pictures and a little footage to be able to put a little compilation together. It would be a lot easier if the weather helped a little bit to do all that. And I wanted to talk to people on camera, ask them some questions. I don't even know if the wind's going to allow that. Like, we'll see. But there is going to be some stuff because I do plan to do that.
Okay, that sounds great. Anyway, quarterbacks. Yeah, I think we're going to see all four of them. And I think by the time this game comes around, the coaching staff has got a pretty good feeling for what they've got.
Yeah.
And this is really, I think, more for the fans than for them to figure anything out. But I'm anxious to see all four of them out there. I think it will be fun. I mean, everybody's going to focus on Hartman and Buckner, and I guess I feel a little differently. If Buckner ends up being the starter, I mean, we already know what Hartman can do. He's done it. And if Buckner beats him out, I got to feel pretty good. So
yeah, well, it's bad. Well, wait.
Wait,
let me be more specific. If that's how it ends up going, and Buckner ends up winning that job, whether it's now or the third week of August or whatever, when I say it'd be a bad look, it'd be embarrassing for Hartman, but for the program, if Buckner wins the job, it's probably better for the program because he's not a one and done. He would be able to use this year and then grow and use that the following year. So I think that would be better for the program, but only if he genuinely wins it and it's obvious and we get good play, because then he could parlay that experience into the next year, where Hartman is just one and done, win as much as you can, and then we're on to the next thing, like Cone was as that filler.
Yeah.
So it would be better for Notre Dame long-term. However, if Notre Dame does go with, let's say there's a scenario where Buckner wins that job, he's got to be good, because you can't have him win that job and then he looks like he can't complete passes. And then we're going, what are we all doing here? There's no way Hartman's worse than that. That's the nightmare you got to avoid. So if he ends up winning it, fine, but he's got to be really good or you're going to have constant questions, right?
Oh, I agree, but I don't think he's going to get the job unless he can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it. We hope we don't have dumb coaches out there.
Yeah.
They aren't going to start somebody that isn't the best.
And you know what else? I like that new quarterback coach. And here's the other thing I like about it. He's coming in from the outside, so he doesn't have a bunch of built-up loyalty one way or the other, either way anyways, because he's new to all this, so he should have a fresh look at everything. I like that.
Yeah, I do too. I think that's a good thing. It will be interesting, although I don't think they're going to show that much, but it will be interesting to see what kind of a play caller Parker is. And I'm not sure they're going to, unveil everything that they've got.
Yeah, I don't expect that. But John, it's got to look different.
Moving on.
It's got to look different. I've had a lot of people reach out to me and say, I'm a little concerned this offense is going to look way too much like what we've seen. That would be egregious to me because you are going to be capable of doing so much more. You don't abandon your physicality in the run game and the tight end involvement. But when you're capable of more, you need to expand that playbook and keep defenses honest. And that is a reasonable expectation. We got to see some shift here to at least be open to more of a wide open attacking deal.
Well, I agree. And this is where I guess I differ a little bit from Mr. Gilmore. I'm anxious to see those three freshman wide receivers out there.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, they come in with a lot of laurels, and I want to see what they can do. I want to see them, beat somebody downfield dramatically.
Yeah, me too. And I don't expect the timing to all be perfect and the rhythm between all these guys and the blue and gold game with the weird format, split teams, all that stuff. I don't expect perfection. I just want to see their vision. Does that make sense? I just want to see their vision and know when we're sitting here all summer that they're thinking about ways to expand the field and do all this. And you know what? If there's three young guys that can play and contribute and do well, God bless them. And then they'll be great in 3 years then if they're good enough in one to play right away. And then look at it that way.
Yep, absolutely.
These are the issues. These are the issues you have when you criminally under-recruited and developed the wide receiver position for a bunch of years. There is a price to be paid for that damage. And then being in this situation and the one last year is that damage. But I like this a lot better because I feel good about those young guys and they can make some plays.
Yeah, I do too. And that's what we want to see them make some plays on Saturday. Assuming their hands can hold up in the cold.
Yeah, they're going to have to do like the USC guys when they come. They're going to have the full heaters on, barrels of garbage burning on the sideline to warm up. I'm unbelievable, man. It's like supposed to be like 75 Friday, 35 Saturday. Thanks a lot. Could you give me another 12 hours of that weather? Well,
I've got a tea time Sunday morning. It's supposed to reach a high of 60 here. So,
yeah.
So, which is going to be nice. I mean, but we haven't gotten any of that nice warm weather. We did have a 70-degree day a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to turn you loose, but I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How are you coming on the merchandise?
Good.
Anything going on?
Yeah. I'm coming good on that. I got somebody helping me build out the Shopify store, and now we're down to the point of adding products and finding different things to do. So yeah, should pop up soon, and you'll see it because I can connect it through YouTube, so people notice when I do it, and I'll talk about it. But yeah, it's coming good.
Okay, well, You better get your rain gear out of your golf bag and take that with you on Saturday.
I know. We're just gonna, you know what? There's a lot of people still going that like made plans to travel. For me, it's 2 hours either way. I could go or stay, not a big deal. But a lot of people have hotels. They're making big drives. They're meeting other people. A lot of people are coming. And so we're gonna just make it an adventure and have fun with it the best we can.
Well, if you had started a GoFundMe for my flight, I'd be there.
No, you wouldn't. Too cold for you. Too cold for you. You're going to be in Palm Beach or something.
No, I'm going to be sitting in front of my Peacock TV.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I'm going to be.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. Spread your wings with the Peacock.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, good. Yeah, I hope your feed's good. I hope you got good reception. I hope it's not buffering while something important's happening.
Hey, you got to, on Friday, if you have a show, you got to say what you're going to be wearing on Saturday so we can look for you.
A parka, a bunch of, no, I'm going to have that classic Notre Dame, the Lou Holtz Notre Dame jacket. If it's that cold, I'm going to be wearing that 80s, the buttons, Notre Dame jacket. I'll try and be this somewhere where people can see me. I'm obnoxious like that.
Okay, well, you got to start the wave at some point so we can, we just follow that around and spot you, okay?
Nope. The wave has no business at Notre Dame Stadium. Not now and not ever. Nope. Not doing that.
All right. Hey, have a great rest of the show. And if you got a show on Friday, I'll watch a little bit of it. I'll look for you Saturday.
Beautiful.
On Peacock.
Yeah, of course. Hit them straight, hit them few, John. Good luck out there.
Okay, partner.
Later.
Talk to you later.
See ya. Oh, man, I love that guy. 567-646-707. 567, make it in heaven. What's up?
Good morning, John.
What's going on, my friend? Thanks for giving me a call. What's on your mind on this topic?
I'm just, it's hump days here. I'm ready for the blue and gold game, just like everybody else.
I know. It's hard not to get excited, right? You tell yourself, you realize it's a scrimmage. You realize it's not like full tilt to everything, but it's as much as we're going to get. So I can't wait to have it. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, we're crazy, ain't we? We love football.
Yeah. We are. Anybody here, in the off season, the way that everybody in the chat is and the way I do this, it's year round. It doesn't end. It's just the season ends and then it turns into recruiting and bigger picture stuff. What are you specifically looking to see?
Let me start off with, I'm sick of the red. I want it to be dead. Let's green out the house that Rockney built on September 23rd. No more red takeovers, Irish Nation.
I like that that's your mission. I like that. I like that crusade. And I also don't like that it's always red. It bugs me. The more I think about it, the more it bothers me. And we can't let it be this time. It just can't.
It's not going to happen because I'm not going to preach it. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and you know what would help it not happen if Notre Dame just played really good football the first month of the year and won their games and looked good. That would help it as well. So if you could do that, then I think Notre Dame guys are going to keep their tickets and not flip them.
Let's hope so.
Yep.
It's really simple for me, man. What I'm looking for in the blue and gold game, it's kind of hard to really gauge the players in a game like that. But I guess what I'm looking forward to mainly is I just want to see a quarterback throw a receiver open.
Imagine that.
No.
Who in the hell? Who in the hell are you? Where do you get off with these high level demands of Notre Dame? Come on. You're not allowed to ask for things that fancy.
Isn't it crazy that
it is
Notre Dame?
I know.
It's Notre Dame, right? It's one of the prestigious universities in the country, and we can't get a quarterback that throws a receiver open.
Yep. You know what I always say my example is? When how there's a million games on TV now on all different channels on Friday night and Saturday. I got sick of seeing teams I've never even heard of before, quarterbacks or receivers I've never heard of before. And I look at their game and they're hitting guys in stride. There's crossing patterns over the middle of the field and the guy catches it and has 20 yards to run. Doesn't even have to slow down. There are touch throws to the sideline where only the offensive guy has a chance. All of these high-level football throws I see from teams and players I've never heard of before. And at Notre Dame, we act like we just can't have it. We just can't have it. We just can't have it here. It's a joke. And we've been in it so long, people are getting used to it. It's not normal.
It blows my mind.
It's not normal.
Why we can't get a guy that can throw the ball a little bit.
Well, now we should have what? Wait,
listen, I love 10 from last year. You know what I mean? I respect him.
Yeah.
And he did a lot for the program in regards to Marcus Freeman's first year.
Yeah.
He got us to 9 wins.
It's not his fault that he's 4 feet tall.
But how in the world is he even on Notre Dame's radar?
I don't know. I wanted that too. He was a Reese guy. Reese wanted him. He was a Reese guy, I was told.
And I guess I can't blame Reese because the year he was recruited, he was pretty highly recruited. He was a 4-star guy, right?
I think he was. It's just, I just saw that he's not tall and not fast. And those are kind of problems for me. If you're I don't know, whatever. What do I know? I don't know anything.
I just don't understand how he was. I guess, I don't know. How does Tommy Reese see that guy as being a Notre Dame quarterback first and foremost? How was he even rated as a 4-star quarterback? He had to have been at least top 25, top 30 at his position.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
I don't know.
When he can't throw a ball over a defensive lineman's hand.
But see, that was the problem last year that I kept running into philosophically in this discussion. I kept saying it's not Pine's fault. He is just limited in ways that are never going to change. He is just physically limited. He should have never
been recruited to Notre Dame. Never been recruited.
It's not his fault. It's just, why are we in that position? And so we got to be way out of that. We got to be way further down the road and out of that. And then what that makes me think of is similar to how I feel about that position is how I was looking at wide receiver as well. And like how could this be Notre Dame? And we have 2 wide receivers and all of that. And I feel like we're coming out of that on the other end too. So hopefully we're done with these kind of problems where it's nowhere near competitive. We got to be done with that.
That's the second thing that I'm looking forward to is the young wide receivers. I want to see Flores, Greathouse, Braylon. I want to see all those guys on the field. I want to see them playing a lot. I want to see them playing with the ones. It's a practice. It's not a game. I want to see Merriweather out there.
Yep.
I feel like everybody else, Tobias should have been on the field last year more than he was. I know he's young.
Yep.
I know he's probably wasn't the most polished.
All right. Now wait, I got a theory on this. Let me run my theory by you, and then you tell me if I'm an idiot who doesn't know anything about football and just yells in his basement. I'm open to that. You could tell me. But when I would ask last year, I'd say the passing game's struggling. It's pretty much Michael Mayer as the first guy, and then Michael Mayer as the bailout. Like Michael Mayer's made a lot of those plays completions that normally wouldn't be. And I'm looking at the wide receiver issues we were having, and then I'd say, why can't Merriweather get a half dozen balls, different places on the field thrown towards him? And then I heard he's not polished, he's too young, he's not a polished route runner, his blocking isn't what you would want from all that. My response to that was, you don't have the luxury to be that picky about that stuff. You just need somebody to catch a damn ball.
On the field and let him go deep a couple
times. Catch a ball. You are not good enough to be that picky about the guys blocking at the line of scrimmage when you have nobody that can catch a ball down the field. You don't get to be that picky. And I was saying, give the guy a chance.
When you're coming out of that Marshall game and you're 0-2, you have nothing to lose. Put the kid on the field, tell him to go deep and throw the ball.
That's what I was saying. But then it's like, well, John, that's why you're not a coach, and that's why you're an idiot in your basement, because it doesn't work that way. Sometimes they overthink these things. You needed a guy to just give the threat to a defense that you could get behind them is enough to help. And they didn't want to do it.
I'm not trying to act like I know what's going on with the Notre Dame program. I'm not a coach. I don't know the first thing about being a coach, but I know that if you're 0-2 and you have nothing to lose, and that's probably the number one reason why you're 0-2 is because everybody's stacking the box against you because they don't feel threatened by the pass at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put a guy out there and take a chance.
Yeah. That's what my theory was.
You're right. I think they do overthink it sometimes.
My theory was that all last year. And then the byproduct of that is if it works out to any level at all, then you're creating some confidence in your young guy and maybe he can emerge as a leader in that group. You got to start that somewhere. But when I heard high level complaints about the wide receiver group, I didn't think we were even in the position to have the luxury to complain about that when I just needed any big body to try and catch a ball and make a defense honest. Now, I don't want to get overexcited. Notre Dame should have a good passing game this year. Am I wrong? It should be way better. How can it not be?
How can it not be?
How can it not be
last year?
How can it not be better?
And another guy that I was extremely excited about last year, and I still am. I haven't fell off the Lorenzo Styles train. I still think he's a great receiver. I don't know if they're going to play him at DB.
Now, what do you make of that? What do you think caused some of the disconnect with him last year? Do you think that the quarterback thing didn't help? Because they were having trouble getting him the ball. That obviously didn't help. But what do you think messed with him last year that had him out of sorts? Because he was kind of whacked out all year, I felt. What caused that?
It's kind of hard to tell. I don't know whether or not things would have gone differently for him if, say, Buckner wouldn't have got hurt against Marshall, and maybe he would have had a quarterback available to get him the ball more.
Yeah. Yeah.
It seems like Pine looked he looked at 87 just about every play. If 87 wasn't open, he was either you're going to take a sack or throw the ball away or I mean our offense last year was throw to Mayer and hand the ball off. So I think Pine just looked 87's way a lot, and our receivers, Styles in particular, and Merriweather were just they were stuck in an offense where they weren't seen.
Yeah, I just think, man, the tide that raises all ships here would be having a quarterback that could actually make more throws. The wide receivers get more engaged. They're encouraged that if they make the right route and move and get open, somebody can get them the ball. Like I just think you blend that in with all that we love with the running backs. I don't see if this offense is not significantly more effective. There's red flags all over all this. The Parker hire, like it can't be. This offense needs to get way, way more electric, like next year and fast.
I'm biting my tongue on saying that I'm optimistic about the offense this year, but I've been a Notre Dame fan for a long time. I know that I don't want to get ahead of myself.
I know
because
I know
something always goes
every time
the way that I didn't think it was going to go.
Every time you start to think maybe I could feel good about this, bam, the 2x4 hits you when you don't see it, right?
Yeah, man. It's
I know
it's hard being a Notre Dame fan.
I know it's hard to
it is hard.
It is, and it's like you want to have that energy and you want to think of the bright side, but you have so much scar tissue. And Notre Dame scar tissue isn't regular scar tissue. It's extra deep, bro. Like we've been through a lot, but you know what? We're all in it together, and I do love that. At least our miseries are collective misery, and we can all bond with it.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be Mr. Negative about it. Every year is a new year, and I'll tell you what, when college football starts, it's Christmas in my household. I might as well say Merry Christmas to everybody because I'm so excited and I'm optimistic and I'm thinking, we're going 12-0 this year.
Yeah, and then
I'm always optimistic.
Yeah, and then week 2 we lose to Marshall at home, and then your whole world comes crashing down.
Oh my gosh!
We didn't even.
Your dog died.
Yeah, you didn't even get through that. Like it was like week 2, and I'm going, all right, all this build up, and the season's like dead now because you did this. Like things change fast.
Yeah,
it's rough.
Yeah, me and my dad talk all the time because if Notre Dame loses on a Saturday, my dad used to tell me, "Oh, don't let it affect you. Don't let it affect you." And it does. It definitely puts a damper on my weekend.
No, it should.
Sure.
Wait, if it didn't, there's something wrong. You don't love it enough if it didn't. Like, I mean, It just,
yeah. My dad has even admitted that it ruins his weekend as well.
But it's just that
it's tough.
You feel like you're getting kicked in the stomach. And then you know what else it ruins when Notre Dame loses? You don't want to watch any of the other games. It ruins all of that too, because I don't want to see more football when I'm annoyed by it and upset. So then, it's
I don't want to watch any. Not even Sunday. I won't watch Sunday.
I know.
I won't watch for the rest of the day. Saturday.
It ruins
I don't care about I don't care about the landscape of college football. It takes me till about the next Wednesday or Thursday to start coming back around and saying, okay, it's a loss. We lost to Ohio State. If we only lose that game, we can still make the playoffs. I start talking myself back into it.
Yeah, of course.
It's
but it's a very uncomfortable feeling. But you know what though? That's how we are. It's who we are. It's never going to change. And I mean, I'm not going to. I love it. You got to lean into it. So I don't know, man. This should be very interesting. We talked a little offense. What about on the defense? What do you want to see? I want to see some of these personnel
that was actually
groupings.
where I was going next.
Yeah, go for it. Let it rip.
I want to see. I'm with everybody else, man. I want to see the D-line. That's my biggest question mark about this team, outside of safety. Safety is my biggest question mark, just because we're so thin.
Yeah.
I think we need to hit the portal for another safety, just to add. I don't want to say just to add a body, but we need more bodies at safety. But the D-line, in particular, the number 2 group. I think our ones are going to be. I think they're going to be able to get the job done, but I want to see the rotation of the depth on the D line and see how they can hold up in the trenches.
Yeah,
especially against our run game, because I mean, I think I might be getting ahead of myself here, but I think we're going to have one of the best rushing attacks in the country. Yeah, so that should be good practice for him going up against one of the best rushing attacks.
Can I ask you this? I feel really, really good about the twin towers of terror tackles. Do you have any concerns about the interior offensive line being able to get regular push forward, or do you think we're going to be okay there? It's in my mind. It's something I'm looking at.
That's my biggest concern, is the defensive tackle position.
Yeah. See, you and I need to find more to disagree about, my friend, because we're too much on the same page with the things we worry about. So I don't know if we're either both off base or we're both right on it, one or the other. You know what I mean?
I'm wrong. I think I'm wrong more than I'm right. So
I don't think you are on these items. I don't think you are on these items. They're all right on my list.
Yeah, I just worry about how beefy we are on the interior. I don't know if we're going to be able to hold up against them big maulers that Ohio State and Clemson have. I don't think I'm worried about USC as much as I am Clemson and Ohio State. Yeah, I don't know how we're going to hold up against opposing rushing attacks this year on that interior.
Nope, that is my number one question I want the answer to, is that dynamic against Ohio State. And I think about it every day, and I'm not going to get the answer for a long time. It's my number one thing. Are you going to be able to hold up? That's going to tell me what the year's going to be. Sorry.
So let's talk about it real fast. Who's going to be the guys? Who's going to be the guys on the interior? Who's the number ones? Who's the number 2 group?
Listen. If you're going to do, well, what are you going to have? Christophic in there? Corral?
I'm talking about on defense tackle.
Well, what are you going to have? You're going to have Mills, Rubio. You're going to have Cross, Kenanana, right? Jean-Baptiste. Is that what you're looking at?
Nana and Baptiste are on the ends, right?
Yeah, but
so are you naming the number 1 group overall as the line?
I'm just naming the names that I think are going to be in the mix out there, and then I want to see where they move around. I want to see the beef. Where's the beef? When I don't see any big bodies I just named on anywhere, inside, outside. Where's the beef? Give me the beef. Where is it?
That's what I want to see. I want to see.
But are Cross and Mills big enough?
They're going to be fine. I want to see the twos. I want to see the depth, and if we can hold up when those guys have to come in,
it makes me nervous, because I don't think the frontline guys are as big. I don't think the frontline guys are big enough. Give me, where's Lewis Nix in the middle, clogging everything up?
I think their motor is going to be enough to hang around and bend and don't break.
I've heard that. And I'm open to that. I'm very, very open to that. That if you're giving up some in bulk, you're going to make up for it with some of that quickness and all that. Like, in theory, fine. It just makes me nervous. I don't know.
That's the kind of D-line I'm hoping for this year. I guess that's wishful thinking, because I don't think that we're going to be world beaters on the D-line. So I'm hoping we can at least be a bend, don't break type D-line, because I think, because like I've said, I'm optimistic about the offense. And in my mind, if we're as good as I think we're going to be on offense, as long as we can bend and not break on that D-line, I think that's going to be good enough for us to have a really good year.
Yeah. And the other thing that connects with that defensive line is, especially if I have some general concerns there, that's another reason why it's such a big deal that middle group of the defense, the linebackers, tighten it up this year, because they're going to be expected to give some support up there. So it all connects. And that's why I have anxiety about that group too, but I need them to be able to shed blocks and fill gaps and get in there to help the D line. It all connects.
That was the next thing on my list too. I want to see the linebackers, and I want to see this year. I want to see a rotation of linebackers. I just want them. I want to see Snead and Collie on Saturday.
I know.
I know they're. Collie's not even young anymore. Collie's a junior. This should be Collie's time.
Yeah, and
Collie needs to be in the games.
I'm saying there's got to be a way to find a blend.
I heard a show. There's a show you did last Friday. I think you were talking to Dr. John, and I heard you mention something about bad news about Collie. I haven't heard a thing about that.
I heard a bunch of rumors, and then I never heard a word about it again. So I'm just hoping it all went away. But I woke up and got a bunch of messages one morning about it on Twitter, and texted to me, "Oh, John, have this on your radar." And then I never heard a peep about it. So maybe it wasn't true,
I heard what you and Dr. John were talking about, and then I listened to Marcus Freeman's press conference. I think it came out that same day or the next day, and he said that the reason why Collie was out was because he was in concussion protocol. So
I woke up to a bunch of messages about it from people that have had information before that's usually, tells me something's going on. And then I never heard a word about it. So I guess we're all just moving on.
Oh man, when I heard you and Dr. John talking about that, I was just
you're
gonna give me a heart attack.
But I was told, prepare for this, John. That's what I was told. The messages were, don't be surprised if that comes through or whatever. And then maybe if it didn't, then we're all good.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened, but man, I really that kid.
I know
that kid's promising.
Yeah, I know. But the good news is, I do think the recruiting at linebacker's been pretty good. They're going to have guys. You're going to have guys in that group that can play. Ziegler and Osbury and the other Bowen. Like, you have guys there. I'm excited about that. It's just finding the right blend of guys that can make plays and make play as a unit, make the whole thing better.
I think Bowen's going to get on the field this year too.
God, man, that guy is. You know what he's screaming? He's screaming to me, future captain of Notre Dame's defense. That is the vibe that guy.
Sure.
He has.
Sure.
It's the vibe. It's everything.
Drew Tranquil.
Yeah, grindy and just dirty and grindy and doing the dirty work. And he's injured and he keeps going at you and he never stops and he makes plays and he's a leader off the field. I love all of it. That is a future leader of the Notre Dame defense. And added bonus, I like that he's kind of a Notre Dame geographical area guy in Indiana. Like, that all screams to me that he's local to Indiana as well. I like that. And it's just like he's a future captain. Can't wait to see him.
I agree. One last thing I'm going to leave you with here, John, before I let you get to another caller.
Sure.
I left a link in a comment on one of your last videos you did. And there's this guy online on YouTube that I watched the other night. And if you haven't yet, check this guy out. It's the video is will Big Ten Saturday night be a bigger deal than Notre Dame football because of the whole Big Ten NBC deal?
Mm-hmm.
His name's Big Ten Ted. Give that guy a listen on that particular video, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on that guy.
Interesting. I'm going to write that down. What was it? Big Ten what? Big Ten
It's
Ted.
it's the guy's name is Big Ten Ted, and the video is will Big Ten Saturday night be bigger than Notre Dame football?
Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Well,
I'd love to see a rant about that guy.
All right, I'm going to look into that. That might be a good video idea. Thanks for the lead on that. I'll look into it.
All right, buddy.
Appreciate it, man. I'll talk.
Hey, Irish Nation, fill that house on September 23rd with green. No more red.
There we go.
Don't let Ohio State take over your stadium.
The red is dead. Have a good day, my friend. Call me back Friday if you want before the game with any final thoughts.
All right, buddy.
All right, have a good one. I like your energy, man. That guy's always ready to go. Bruce! I believe it's Bruce. What's up, Bruce?
John, what's good, my man?
What's going on? Bruce is our Notre Dame guy in Jacksonville. The Format podcast covers a lot of sports, including Notre Dame football. Find him wherever you wish. What's up, Bruce?
Hey, man, I was just listening to the show, of course, this morning, and I just wanted to call in with a couple of thoughts on a couple of things that you brought up. The first one was, you seem very adamant that you don't want to see a lot of what we saw offensively last year, and I couldn't disagree more. And the reason why is Tommy Rees is an excellent play caller. He's an excellent play designer, and the offense was still pretty good last year. They did their thing, but the problem was the talent just wasn't there to truly unlock it. So if we see a lot of the same schemes and concepts, I don't have a problem now that it looks like we may have some more explosive talent on the outside to really take this thing to the next level. The only question is Parker going to be able to call plays with the same aplomb that we saw from Tommy Rees? And I'm not sure because, if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be the first time doing it versus Rees being a lot more experienced at that.
Yeah, no, I guess I'm totally open to what you're saying, and I do understand it. And it makes me think, and let me know if this is where your brain's at. When I hear what you said, it makes me think maybe Rees is sitting there with this awesome wide open playbook, but he's looking at the wide receiver and the quarterback and knows that you can't do it. So you have to pare down what's in your own playbook. And maybe now we can kind of open that back up and fully explore it. Is that what you're kind of going at?
Absolutely. I definitely think so. Having the weapons to unlock what's in your mind as a play caller and play designer totally changes things. And as much as I detest the SEC and hate Alabama with all my heart and soul, I think that we're going to see something crazy from Tommy Rees this year down here in Tuscaloosa. And not that I'm trying to divert this way, but if Rees wasn't what a lot of people thought, Saban wouldn't have went and got him. I mean, to me, it's that simple.
Yeah, I mean, but I can accept that. And then the next thing out of my mouth is that's why I'm ultra frustrated by the whole dynamic, because he's allegedly that good of a play caller, but our offenses are in the 40s and we look like we can't throw the ball year after year. And so there's a big disconnect there between what I got here and what Saban's seeing in his mind there. And we didn't get it. It's just so frustrating.
Well, John, I could be the greatest carpenter in the world, but if I don't have a hammer and nails, what am I building? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying the cupboard was bare at Notre Dame. Obviously, I look at it this way, and you and I have discussed this offline, with what he was able to do with Michael Mayer, knowing everybody we played, knowing that Michael Mayer was the number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4 option in the passing game, still being able to have relative success, to me, that says a lot. But
yeah, I could be open to that, man. Yeah, I could be open to that. And then the question is too, if you reduce this back down, then it becomes, well, who's recruiting all those guys that weren't good enough to even be able to run the playbook? Where the hell's the development to get guys to a level where they could go and run that playbook? But then you have injury to the quarterback. Like, things were just getting messed up, man. I mean, nothing could just go point A to point B to point C for Notre Dame. There's always some kink in the mix.
I agree.
So you wait. So
do
you think that Alabama offense going to take off? You think he's going to go down there with that talent everywhere, and we're all going to see? I'm going to sit there and go, "This is that Reese genius. I didn't get to see it at Notre Dame. Now I'm seeing it here."
I think so. And the fact that also, do we really believe that Reese, especially under Saban, is going to get away from wanting to run the football? So now you can really go crazy with those freak Alabama running backs and O-linemen, right? You can really go crazy in terms of your RPO game, your play action game. I think it's going to unlock a lot for him.
Yeah.
But again, this is not me here trying to, give flowers to Alabama, because I really hate doing that.
Yeah. Yep. No, listen, Saban doesn't hire bums. Saban doesn't hire people he doesn't believe in. Saban knows what he's looking for.
That is correct.
I am very, very interested to see how that goes. But Bruce, here's the one thing that's going to happen to me, and I'm not open to it, and I'm not going to let it happen to me. I know damn well, and you're on Twitter, so you know how this goes. If he ends up having a great first half of the year and they put up all these points, I'm going to start hearing, "Oh, John, you were questioning Tommy Reese, but look at what he's doing there, blah, blah, blah. He is a genius." And then I'm going to say, if you give me a roster with 9 5-stars a year on it, then I bet you Notre Dame's offense would have looked a lot better too. But it isn't apples to apples. Exactly. And even if he scores 50 a game there, you can't say to me that means if we would have just had him one more year, what happened here? Those are different things. But I'm going to get that argument, and I'm not open to it.
Yeah, no, I got you, man. I got you. Second point, you mentioned BVG earlier. I got to push back on that just a little bit. Not that I'm a huge fan of his.
I hope you're not.
The fact is, he wasn't really that bad. He's just not built for college, and the reason why, he's from that Buddy Ryan, Rex Ryan tree, and their whole philosophy defensively is the old, always send one more than they can block. Those guys are known for being blitz heavy. That's their schemes, right?
Yeah.
And those are complex NFL defenses that you just don't have the time, especially at a school like Notre Dame. So you have the NCAA rules on certain amount of practice and all that. Yeah. And then at Notre Dame, you combine the academics, like these guys here actually have schoolwork to do in class to go to. It's not the same.
It was like learning it was like an advanced calculus problem to figure out where your responsibilities are on a play. And by the time even our smart Notre Dame guys, it registered, the play was behind them. I felt like that really was what happened. Correct. Those guys even said afterwards,
no, you're absolutely right.
It was very complicated.
You're absolutely right.
And if you got Notre Dame kids saying that it's really, really complicated, it's probably very, very complicated.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the last point before I let you go, I'm still, and I guess I got to see something this weekend. I don't know how much we can really glean from the blue and gold game, but I'm not 100% sold on this Hartman thing. And I hope I'm wrong, but I'm really worried that a lot of his success, don't get me wrong, the numbers are crazy at Wake Forest, but I'm really worried that a lot of his success was due to that slow mesh system. I'm really worried about that. And the second part of that point is, was Hartman brought in because of concerns about Buckner's ceiling or concerns about his health? And I know Coach Freeman is about competition, but is this QB competition for real? Because I heard a caller earlier say, you didn't bring in Hartman to not be the starter. But I was at the Gator Bowl. I covered that thing. And what I saw from a healthy Buckner, if he has a whole season to really, study and continue to learn and to get back to timing and all that, I think he pares down those turnovers, and I think he is dangerous. Where are you on that stuff?
Yeah, where I'm at is, if Buckner wins the job, because both guys are good and Buckner's playing better, that is best for the program, because you're going to have him this year and then he can develop with those receivers and then you get him again. There is no doubt Buckner winning the job is best for the program overall if the way they're analyzing who's winning the job is accurate. There's no doubt that's the best path for us. But if that's the way it goes, he's got to be really good, or there's going to be a lot of heat on Freeman and everybody else with Hartman back there. On a personal level, that's a tough look for Hartman. to leave and do all this. And then the guy that you had the relationship with, Reese, left right after you went here. And then you go through all this and then you don't win the job. Man, that is a very big hit to the gut for him.
I agree.
So I don't know. But if it's Buckner and it's because he's good, then that's the best case for Notre Dame because you get him again. It's like the Cone year. The Cone year, there is no development. You win as many games you can with him, and then you got to do something different with the new quarterback.
Correct.
That is a whole different thing than a guy that can develop and be around a few years and develop rhythm with the receivers and get to know all that. So I don't know. And do I think, though, that people probably overestimated Hartman? Yes. But that doesn't really make sense to overestimate him or he'd be in the draft next week if he was that great. So everybody should have known there was
that part of it too.
Right. Everybody should have known there was a certain level he's not at, but that doesn't mean that it can't be way better than what we had last year. There are levels to this.
Well, maybe he's a smart guy, right? He's 6th year and he realizes, hey, I go to Notre Dame. That could be better for me brand-wise. That I could earn more money than being, a 6th-round NFL draft pick who, he may realize this could be the better move for me. And if I have a great year at Notre Dame, that's a tremendous amount of eyeballs on me.
Yeah.
That's free pub and press.
Yep.
And, that gets me maybe into the late 1st round or 2nd round next year instead of where I would be in this draft. So, I mean, I can kind of see where his thought process might be on that. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. But the one thing that I want to take away from all of this and all of these questions is I feel way, way better about the current and future direction of the quarterback and wide receiver room. And those were two of my biggest, red flag problems the last few years. That gives me encouragement overall. I think both of those groups are trending up, and that's really good to see.
Fair enough. All right, John, thanks for the time, man. Always appreciate it.
Bruce,
Go Irish, everybody.
It's good to talk to you, my friend. The format, look him up. And Bruce, enjoy the game and enjoy being in Jacksonville and not South Bend this weekend, okay? It's going to be cold.
Bring that up real quick. You think it's going to be 33 degrees up there?
Bro, it's going to be in the 40s, but then the real temp with the winds is mid 30s or something. Whatever, man. I'm going. We're going and we're going to fight through it, damn it. And we're going to have a party. I don't care if it's a blizzard. We're having a party, damn it. And we're going to enjoy Notre Dame football.
I love it. All right, man. You have a great one.
Have a good one, Bruce. Thanks for calling, buddy. See ya. Right. Oh, man, he's got the voice for radio, Bruce. 707-818 after that. Hello.
Hello. So, John, I'm thinking, as you were talking with him, the idea that Hartman, obviously his numbers are real. But then again, if you look at the ACC the last 5 years, really there was only one good defense, and that was Clemson. So he was putting up numbers. Nobody else played defense in that league. So, let's take that with a grain of salt on what we're expecting from him. And my next point would be, I feel very sorry for whatever quarterback is going to be named the starter, because can you imagine the pressure?
Yeah.
And the people half are in his, half will be for him and half will be saying you should have been the other guy.
Yep. And that first 3rd and 7 pass that goes over our guy's head and hits the turf. You and I both know on Twitter, that's why it should have been the other guy. And I might be a part of that problem and I don't know it yet. But I already foresee that if a guy struggles a little bit, people are going to be quick with that hook. Either way it goes, it's going to be an interesting dynamic. And you know what, though, man? Maybe we should be glad we're going to have that, because at least it means we have multiple quarterbacks people want to see play, which is the opposite of what we've been doing.
Oh, yeah. It's way opposite. What we've had, I guess you'd have to go back to Brady Quinn since we had a quarterback that could get the ball to guys.
Man, I'll say this though. Didn't Deshaun Kaiser could throw a deep ball and get some air under it and have it get down the field. I do remember that. I'll give him that one. But just the consistency. And then the blending that with the wide receivers you need to make that work and the line play. I'm just hopeful this year is the beginning of a more modern Notre Dame offense that could move the ball every way.
Yeah, I'm not in the Kaiser fan base just because, he had a good year because he had to fill in as a freshman and he wound up surprising and turning heads. But he never really developed, and who do you blame that on? But he was a washout in the NFL, so I wouldn't put him in there with Brady Quinn. And of course, Brady Quinn didn't have a stellar NFL career either by any stretch. So,
hey, didn't he get drafted by the Browns? Didn't he go to the Browns? Like, dude, you're half dead. They got you half buried in the ground the minute you get picked to the Browns back at that time period.
Yeah, we haven't really had a good quarterback for decades.
Why? Let me ask you that. You're a longtime Notre Dame guy. You tell me how it makes sense. The University of Notre Dame, with all of its tradition and history, especially with quarterbacks, if you go back a ways, how is it possible that Notre Dame hasn't had good quarterback play year after year with another one that's good that wants to play here? Is it just we're out of style?
I don't know. I think, Clausen was a 5-star, and then that kid right behind him, I forget his name, but he was a 5-star, and they both came to Notre Dame. And Clausen was great. I liked Clausen, but the guy behind him never really had the chance. He didn't get a lot of playing time. The coach didn't like him, I don't think, so he never saw the field. They went with Younger, and but it's just been actually, I guess it's since Clausen that I've been happy with a quarterback, and then Paulus was really good too. But those we're talking about 90s and early 2000s, aren't we?
Yeah, but see, the problem I have with that is, I think there's a lot of people don't watch a lot of other football and everything. It's all like Notre Dame world. And year after year after year, you're in that same milieu and the same thing. I think it grew on people. They're like, this is just what it is at Notre Dame. No, it doesn't have to be. You can have a good offense. You can have a good quarterback throwing it all over. It's possible. You could do it. And I'm just hopeful we're trending in that direction. Yeah, Dane Chris. That's who you were. Dane Chris. That's got to be who you were thinking about, right? The other guy?
Dane Chris.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was supposed to be, just as good as Clausen coming in after him, but he just never adapted to the coaches that he had. I don't think it was a right fit for him to come to Notre Dame, but apparently he had all the billing to get there and be successful, but what are you going to do? Like you say, and it's going to be fun to watch, I'm going to not be able to watch it. So I'm going to have to rely on you to tell me what happened because I'm not paying Peacock for a spring game. But, it'll be fun to see Buckner and go against Hartman. And I'm thinking Buckner's going to win it out. I think outright he's going to win it because, I don't see. Of course, I haven't seen anything yet, so I don't know. But, Hartman is not a guarantee to me. He played in a weak conference, and he put up numbers, and, everybody scored. All the good offensive teams, were like him. They put up the same, but no one really could say they scored a big on good defenses.
Yeah. What about Gunnar Kiel? Remember that name? Gunnar Kiel was going to be the next one with the big arm and the Kiel family tradition and all that. Well, that didn't work out either. Oh, yeah, it's rough.
That's another washout.
But listen, if Buckner wins the job because he legitimately outplays Hartman, that is fantastic. That is a good sign for Notre Dame in the future. And I would be very proud and happy for Buckner. But you got to make sure you're right if you make that call, because everybody knows the buildup of bringing Hartman here and all of that. So if you're going to make a ballsy call like that, you got to be sure, and he's got to be good.
Well, it's going to be a ballsy call anyway, but it's also going to be that I have no trust yet in our offensive coordinator. Who knows what this guy is going to.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I know that, that guy before was talking about Reese, how good he was. I remember the negative stuff of him being shut out in second halves of games and, not being able to adjust on the fly kind of guy, know. So, for Reese, he's going to have 9, like you said, 5 stars, 14 out of the top 100 players. I mean, that's just insane.
Yeah.
So there's really no excuse for them not.
But I always wondered that, man. That's a part of my weekly frustration with Reese was I was looking at stuff not look like it had any rhythm or flow or any juice to it. And I'm going, how much of this can I blame Reese for? And how much of it is he sitting around going, I don't have the talent to do what I want to do. I'm trying to do the best I can, but we're just so damn limited that I can't run this, what I want to do. I never was able to figure out exactly where that line was of how much of each.
Well, I think he was smart enough to see that Alabama is going to get players like, he doesn't have that ability. He's just going to walk into 14 of the top 100 players. I'm not saying they're all on offense, but
I get it.
Have something he's never had before at Notre Dame, and he's never really brought in the talent. Like if you're in charge of the offense, you have to get a good quarterback every year, like one really good.
You know what I noticed though? Yeah. I can't help but notice. I feel like Reese's recruiting capabilities, I noticed really be more apparent the minute that Kelly left the room. And I'll be honest about that I noticed his recruiting and hearing his name and people telling me what a good job he was doing. I heard a lot more of that after Kelly left, and it kind of makes sense because then Freeman empowered Reese to be able to go do that kind of the way he wanted to and go do all that rather than Reese being trapped under whatever Kelly wanted to do or not do. So I did hear that the recruiting picked up, but it was only in that short window, and then he's off to Bama. So whatever.
Yeah.
Telling you, man.
You have
Alabama versus LSU
and CJ Carr
is so interesting.
I don't know. Do you attribute that to Reese? And if so, why won't they leave to go follow him? And because they're certainly good enough to go to Alabama. To me, it seems like I'm expecting a lot from Minchie. He's one of those quiet guys that just wants to get on the field to show his abilities and leadership.
With Carr,
play to his.
With Carr,
I'm sorry?
Just the other day with Carr, he was at some camp and they did like a little interview thing, say who you are, where you're from, blah, 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 what schools. And he was out there on the field and he said, I'm CJ Carr and I'm a Michigan or a Michigan guy, a Notre Dame from Michigan, Notre Dame recruit. And we're good to go here. Let's go. So I don't know, that's about as good as I can ask for, I guess, with that.
Yeah, not only that, but I think he won the top award for that group that got together.
You just got to get him in here and then let him compete with these other guys, and him and Minchie are young. And then if you had, I don't know, man, but I agree, and I've never disagreed. If Buckner wins this job, it'd be better for the program overall as long as he's good and wins it. You can't win the job and then look iffy. No. Not with this guy behind you. That just can't be this year. So he's got to be good if he gets it.
Yeah, and it's so dependent on the offensive line, how good they're going to be. I'm really more worried about the offensive line than the defensive line. And the offensive line traditionally has always started off slow, so they can't afford to do that. You have to come out, balls out, and just, ground and pound and get physical and get angry. And I don't see that from them. It seems like it takes them 3 or 4 games to wake up to who they are.
And you know what, though? Let me tell you this. If that's true again, this year that method works a lot better than it did last year because you're not opening with Ohio State. You got 3 or 4 games where you should be able to ease into it without being perfect and still win.
Right.
That's a big benefit. But I never understood it. It's like, this is not the NFL. You don't get a month of warm-up games to get your rhythm together. Like, it's go time. And then I hear, well, John, it's week 1. Guys got to eat it. It's week 1 for everybody else too, and somebody wins the game. Like,
right.
So give me a break. Come ready to go. It's driving me crazy. It's like Major League Baseball right now. Oh, White Sox bullpen, worst in the league. Well, it's early, and then they're going to tighten it all up. That's what spring training was for. These games mean something now. Now's not the time to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I got nothing for that. I agree.
Me neither. Jeez.
All right. Do you want to move on?
Yeah, I do. In life.
Well, have a great time at that game, and I'll be thinking about all you guys there and all these Irish.
Hey,
you're a good group. So.
Yeah, it's going to be
Go
fun.
Irish.
It's going to be fun. I'm going to try and take some pictures or video and see what kind of trouble we get into. So you guys will hear about it. And then I want you all to join me sometime. We got to get all this group together where it works for most people to travel. Dr. John, I want a big group, and we'll hopefully do it when the weather's good. How about that?
Sounds good. Yeah.
Beautiful. Let me know when you're coming
Take care.
around,
Have
my
fun.
friend.
Be safe.
Oh yeah, thanks a lot. You guys will hear about it. I'll show people what's going on, for better or worse. 818. What's going on?
Okay, first of all, do I sound better than I've sounded in a long time or not?
You sound 100% more clear than you've sounded 99% of the times you call.
Right. So the reason for that, John, whenever I call you, I have to put my speaker on my phone, which is the best way to do it to talk to you, other than this, which is my car speakerphone. But I had my car in the shop for like several weeks, and then I had to then I got a new car, or another car, and I had to move this stereo into this car. So I'm now talking to you in my very humble Kia Rio on this very clear phone, I'm hoping.
Let me tell you, it is the clearest you've sounded. So you're good to go, buddy.
All right, man. Cool. All right. So, buddy, first of all, 707, always really like that guy, man. Like, I always, just some of the callers that call in, I don't, do we know his name?
I see what's on the, I think that's Joe. Pretty sure that's Joe.
Okay, yeah, great guy, man. Every time he calls in, and a lot of times I follow him or he follows me. It's weird. We always seem to be right around the same time. I just want to say, man, great stuff, man. Every time, I love to meet him. I'd love for him to. It's too bad he can't come out for that blue gold tailgate. Maybe sometime this year.
Yeah, and I think.
Also, did you see that?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think he's from California, so that's a trip.
Oh, okay, right on, California, right on. Did you see? Your relative just announced his presidential run today.
No, I did not. Which one of the relatives is it? I'm afraid to ask.
Robert Kennedy Jr., man. He announces, I was wondering that over the last few weeks, he's been making some great points. I really haven't been following him for years, man. Anyway, just saw that, and I was like, it was, I had to mention it, obviously.
I mean, I just feel like at some point I should run for something because it's too easy. It's John Kennedy. I should run for something. There's a lot of fun I could have on the trail with that. You got a John Kennedy running. I could do a lot of fun stuff with that.
Oh my God. And the stuff you could do with slogans, kind of poking fun at the fact that your name is,
yeah,
a Kennedy. But anyway, so, this weekend, and I loved Eric's donation to a cooler that is dedicated to only good beer. Great heads up, man.
It was actually very generous. Very generous of him.
That's awesome. Yeah, so that was wonderful. Thank you, Eric, because, that'll be fun, man. Can't wait for the tailgate. Man, I was thinking throughout these years, and all the calls that I've heard so far about the talent level we've had at quarterback, and who was the coach at the time. And, the trends of Notre Dame are so interesting, John, because, under the Lou Holtz years, we had those really good running quarterbacks. And then when he recruited Powers, let's be honest, man, he never turned out to what, we thought he would be. And I think the biggest reason was he was a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah.
I think under Spurrier, I think Powers would have would have thrived. I really do. I think that in the right system, Paulus would have absolutely thrived. Charlie Weiss, I talk about having great quarterbacks. I mean, he coached Brady Quinn and made it, turned him into a great college quarterback. I mean, no one can take away Charlie Weiss's ability to call offense, to develop certain players.
You mean the decided schematic advantage?
I'm giving him credit where credit's due, man. That's all. He didn't pay attention enough to the defensive side of the ball. He never had chemistry with that side of the ball. I mean, that's what killed Charlie Weiss. But, and then he recruited Clausen, and, Quinn hit at about his third year. That was when Weiss came in. And it was a huge jump from his second, but he did make improvement in his second year. Same thing for Clausen. Clausen was very bad as a freshman with some flashes, but he suffered that 3 and 7 year, came back his next year, looked pretty good, but a lot of interceptions, and then completely dominated in the third year, even though their defense was so bad in that third year, man. They just
and then
gave up leads.
Like,
anyway, I don't
wasn't his was 07 his freshman year that he played where they went 3-9? Was that, or whatever it was, whenever his first full year of starting was? Yeah. I just remember feeling terrible for him because we had no offensive line. He had no chance to even survive, let alone be good. He got the absolute crap kicked out of him. We had no offensive line. The guy was getting killed, and there was no chance to even be good at football. He was just trying not to die and get pile drived every play.
John, the 3 and 9 year, 0-2 Notre Dame played 0-2 Michigan, and that was the Appalachian. I think that was the Appalachian State upset. So everybody was thinking, "Oh, Michigan's going to get beat by even Notre Dame," and I was like, "There ain't no chance in hell. Michigan's 10 times better, man. We are just absolutely awful." And sure enough, if you remember, at the end of that game, we got the ball. They just kept moving backwards from the 20, and poor Clausen just kept getting his head wrong.
Yep.
Oh my God.
All right, let's not. I don't want to talk about that anymore. I can't. I'm dropping that out of my mind. No, we're not doing that.
Yeah, right.
All right, blue and gold. What do you need to see?
Well, first of all, I told you, anything we see at the blue and gold game, I'm going to take with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
What I'm looking for is certain things like this. Okay, the receivers, are they getting great separation? Are they doing things with the running backs dynamically? With the Tyree situation, all that kind of stuff. Are they doing things dynamically, with the running backs that are different than what we've seen, that can utilize all that talent they now have in the stable? Okay, that's probably the most interesting thing I'm looking for, is in terms of what's going to be different, is how that position, along with the wide receiver unit, are utilized to offset what another defense is going to focus on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How creative can they be? Because I think you got a really strong offensive line coming back, man. And honestly, dude, whoever the quarterback is, whether it's Buckner and whether it's Hartman, and wow, John, what did I tell you about the best case scenario for that position?
Yeah.
You remember what I said?
Well, it would probably be that if Buckner gets it, it's better for us overall.
No, what I said, the best case scenario is that Hartman gets it, but is pushed to the brink by Buckner. So either way, I guess, whether Buckner gets it or Hartman gets it, each one of them, I think, is making the other one better.
Yeah, I could see that, but I think it'd be more beneficial if Buckner won it and he was good, and then he plays this year, and then I have all that experience, and then next year wouldn't theoretically be his first year. Wouldn't that be better? Like, there's better, but I think that might be better.
Well, yeah. Well, of course, yeah. That would. I mean,
but the pushing, God, man, a big part of all this dynamic is Buckner's personality. He is the ultimate fighter and the ultimate warrior, and that makes this dynamic work because he's such a fighter. He's never going to stop. He's going to push.
I don't know, man. Well, I like the Rocky Balboa comparison, man, for sure. No, look, man. I'm a Buckner fan, to be honest with you, and and it's great to see this happening. I still think, though, like you said, I believe that there's a legit competition going on there right now, and that they're legit pushing each other. Maybe Buckner's even got the edge. Maybe that's why they won't say it, because they don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't know, but maybe that's what's happening. But let's be honest, John. There's also game experience, and there's game experience, man, and that can be a huge difference. Now, I've seen Buckner in a game, very competitive game, come to rise to the occasion. So I want to give him that credit. I'm just saying, Hartman has that on him. And so, even if Buckner, that's what I'm wondering, even if Buckner slightly wins the job, let's say it's slight, but he wins it, do you think the coaches still announce Hartman because of that game experience? Like, in my opinion, John, Buckner's going to have to win it pretty solidly for him to get the actual starting nine.
You are asking a question. I've been thinking about this so much, man. I've been really thinking about that. Like, how close does this have to be one way or the other to make that decision and what goes into it? I've been thinking about all that too. I really have. Both ways it cuts. So I don't know. Are you better off if one guy really jumps ahead and it's obvious, or are you better off with two guys sharpening each other? I don't know. I'm genuinely asking.
I think honestly, then the second scenario, because I think if one guy jumps out ahead, maybe that makes the other guy go in the tank, and then the competition for the guy that's ahead. I know I'm thinking too much about this, man, but it is psychological, and these are college kids, And so I just think for them both to be playing at a high level and pushing each other is the best scenario. I really do. Because then, look, man, if Buckner gets hurt, or even if he's not hurt for the year, but just, let's say he gets a starting job, or let's say Hartman gets a starting job. Now you're really confident in the person coming over to take over. Not to mention the person coming over to take over will have a chip on their shoulder as well.
Yeah. Now, the only way that backfires is the one guy who doesn't get the job leaves or has a bad attitude. Like, as long as long as you avoid that, or if Hartman didn't get the starting job, why couldn't he just go, I'm out of here. I'm going to go train for the draft or go do something else. Like, why am I going to sit here for my last year and do all this? And I'm not even the starter. Like, that guy doesn't need school anymore. He could just say, I'm going to go train for the draft and do it that way. Like, there's a lot of dynamics in this.
John, you just brought up a really interesting point and a question I have that now I've not thought about until just now. We thought about Buckner, if Buckner doesn't get the job, does Buckner leave and fall and he goes play for their teams? Apparently he can do that.
Yeah.
Can Hartman do the same thing?
I don't know. But that's,
I don't know if the year standing has anything to do with that. Like, if he's a sixth year and it's not in his undergrad, you know what I'm saying? Not his undergrad years.
Yeah. And
I
the
don't
other
know that, but I am curious.
Yeah.
Anybody that knows in the call-in, man, anybody for here and future next week, if anybody knows the answer to that question, can Hartman also leave?
That's why. But that's the other side of the coin to all this, is people saying, John, Notre Dame's coaching staff knows what they're doing. They're going to lead both of these guys on as long as they can, to the point where they don't lose the one that doesn't ultimately be the starter. And it's very obvious to see. I have had people tell me that they're going to run this out and do that as long as they can to keep both those guys in the house for next year. And I don't know what to make of that. Yeah. And I don't know whether that's true or not true. I don't know whether that's fair or not fair, or the way it should be or not be. But I've had a lot of people tell me that's the dynamic.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense too, man. What do we know? We're gonna know a little bit on Saturday. We'll see him in a simulated game situation. That's gonna tell us a little. Okay, so yeah, I guess maybe it is a little more. The more we talk it through, the more interested I get in that.
Dude, there's just a lot of angles. There's a lot of angles, man. There's behind the scenes angles. There's obvious angles. There's angles that connect to other things that are ancillary. There's a lot of that. And behind it all, I don't know. It's going to be wild.
Talking about, let me throw a few things right out that I'm looking for then from that perspective. Obviously, that quarterback deal and how they're developing and how they throw the ball. I mean, eyes are going to be on that. Jadarian Price, we're all going to be looking forward to seeing him. I am, because I've never seen him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I think, again, that dynamic of how they utilize the running backs and wide receivers is real interesting to me. What they do, especially Tyree being that kind of flanker back, like Rocket was back, which I think is the perfect position for him. I'm really rooting for Tyree. Damn it, I'm really rooting for Tyree. Also, how the defensive front, the interior defensive line, what kind of a push they're able to get. And what will we gain from that since the interior offensive line is young? So, that's an interesting thing to look for. How the linebackers are moving around. Are they a split second late again like last year? How are the safeties developing? I'm real confident in the cornerbacks, obviously. Yeah, you know what I got to say? I'm kind of looking forward to this game. The more I think about it, I'm kind of looking forward to this one, man. I just convinced myself it's going to be a fun watch. I was just looking forward to seeing you and everybody.
I was gonna say, forget about the game. We're gonna have fun drinking all day leading up to it in the cold, whatever happens in the game. I'm gonna have fun with you guys. I think.
Hey, John, on that note, what time do you think is a good time to have people start coming over?
I mean, we're going to get there and set up a little earlier than I think is needed, but I would say between 9 and 10, we'll be all caught up, set up, and then everybody could come whenever.
Okay, cool. Right on.
Yep, and we'll be there all day. We'll be there all day. I'm not going anywhere. We'll set up the flag. We'll be there all day. Everybody's invited.
What time? I know it's weird asking this. What time is the game?
I think the game's 2 Eastern. So, 2 Eastern.
Yeah, I thought it was 2, right? 2 o'clock. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, I'll be there probably by 10.
Beautiful. You'll know where to find me, but I'll shoot you a text.
So that means, of course, I'll be there about 10:45.
Well, whatever. That's fine. The beer's going to be cold either way, my friend. Right. You're all good.
Yeah, right on, man. Okay, buddy. Hey, have a good one, man.
You too.
Yeah, you just now I'm looking forward to the game too.
Beautiful. We'll see you in a couple days, my friend. Thanks for the call and the crystal clear phone line. Right. I dig it. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely great. I'm glad, man. Have a good one.
Beautiful. Thanks a lot, buddy. I'm telling you what. Really good bank of calls today. We had full calls the entire time, shot all over the board, different thoughts. This is what it's all about. I love this group. It's a good group. And I'll say it again. It's going to be iffy weather, but we're still going to have a good time. So we're going to be out there. We're going to have a heater. We're going to just make a day of it. We know the weather's not going to be great. But we're just going to make the best of it, and we're going to have our fun, okay? And if you get cold, you drink a little Jameson, a couple Miller Lights, it'll warm you up. People making fun of me for liking Miller Lite. I like it. I don't have expensive tastes. I don't have the fanciest taste. I drink a Miller Lite and it tastes good. And I like the effects. Give me a break. All right. So I'll post something interesting tonight. I'm going to have a video tomorrow morning about the position groups I'm looking at and individually within them. And then Friday, we'll do one more show before Blue and Gold. And then we'll go from there. Thanks for being here, everybody. Eric, thanks for the $100 holler. Everybody for being here. I really appreciate it. So thanks to everybody. Really good show today. Really good callers. Love y'all. There's no show without you. See ya in a day or so.